Hello, I am Tata. Wow, my voice really cracked with that one. Ignore that. Hello, I'm Tata Cat. Welcome to my channel. Today we are playing the letter. Previously, we cooked some food with Isabella after telling her her story, and she was pretty cool with it. She didn't ask too many questions. And Ashton appeared, and we forced him to eat some food with us, and he was pretty cool with that. And then he warned us about the rights after discovering that they are weird and creepy. And then now we're looking at a letter with letters and stuff. It's pretty much where we left off. Alright, let's continue. Ermengarde Mansion, H. Wright, 11 a.m. For luxury living. After Ashton's warning, they all hold a different meeting now. October 27th, Thursday. Why are you humming such a creepy song, bro? The next 2 days rushed by in a blur, altogether leaving the collective mess of my work suddenly piling up in a new unexpected acquaintance or friends. Depends on how you look at it, really. Either way, I'm stuck developing these photos at 3 in the morning to reach a deadline set by an overeager art director. Don't get me wrong, Julius is good, has vision, and knows what he wants, but damn, he can be too enthusiastic sometimes.
Doesn't matter when you couldn't sleep anyway.
That's fair. There's nothing new in it, of course. After years of working as a freelance photographer, it's simply something I've grown used to. Get to know people, build a client base, do good work, and cash in some late hours if need be. Rinse and repeat. It certainly takes a while to get some footing on the field, but it's the kind of thing that pays off in the long run, as long as you keep at it. Given enough time, you might end up with big names on your client list. Names like the Wrights, in particular. I never did pay much attention to them, but it's virtually impossible not to hear about them when the local news channel or paper has something to say on their name. A party here, acquisition there. Sometimes it's a new business venture, other times it's the everyday gossip that typically follows popular people like them. Not in a million years did I ever imagine I would end up working for such a high-profile couple. And between that and the fuss that comes with it, it leaves me no time to ponder over whatever happened to Isabella or why Ash is so adamant we keep away from the pair.
They do seem like the good folk, though, despite the whole fame thing.
Sure, there was a rumor running around years ago about him being involved in some business scandal. Ew, scandalous. But just like every gossip blown out of proportion by the media, nothing came of it, and eventually it simply died down. Much is definitely left to be said for the husband, but I doubt a woman like Miss Wright would pick him if he doesn't have any good points at all. Miss Wright. Hannah herself, though. She ain't particularly bad, the way the press makes her out to be. Story updated that I can't look at. The tabloids had it all wrong, that's for sure. For someone born with a silver spoon in her mouth, well, she ain't exactly what I was expecting. Among other things, the newfound friendship is what I least expected from her. But here we are. Although, with a life as public as the Wrights, no wonder it's the woman who often gets the crappy end of the stick. I can't help but feel sorry for her. She's a real nice person when given the chance. Heck, she might have even ended up friends with Rebecca and Isabella too if they were living worlds apart. Probably. The beep quickly pulls me back before my thoughts travel any further. In one practice motion, I carefully place the wet prints I'm holding on a drying rack and amble over my makeshift darkroom to get the last photos from the water bath. Inside the converted broom closet, the film processor lets out another soft clack before going on its standby mode. As its mouth At its mouth, a lone photograph sits on the tray, barely visible with the lack of light. It's the last one tonight for the set, Miss Wright requested. I don't usually make this habit, giving away stuff that is. It's bad for business, no matter how well-intentioned or generous you are. The exception, however, she did treat me well and was a pleasant companion all throughout the shoot. Even if she didn't ask, I would have probably given her a few prints just for the hell of it. Miss Wright ain't such a bad subject matter to begin with. And maybe this is just me, but for someone who has everything at the palm of her hands, all the money in the world, a loving husband, in a plenty big mansion to call home, she's lonely. She doesn't just appear like it. It shows in the tone of her voice, how she moves, and most certainly in her smiles, always hidden behind the glamour for the world to never see. Sometimes for people like her, small things like these help. A little reminder that the world can be kind too. Water drips from the paper as I blindly pick it up and gently lay it on another tray, holding a decent amount of photo flow. A few seconds under the solution is all it needs before it's ready for drying. No good rushing these last one, even if my body's already screaming for some decent snooze. My hand fumbles for the light switch, moving towards it with familiarity, while I fish for a squeegee among the mess of tools on the drawer with the other. The bulb flickers twice before it glow sizzles and casts soft light in the tiny space. When I glance back down, squeegee in hand, ready to finish the process, finally call it a night.
What on earth?
Ooh, did we get a creepy photo? Yay, we did! That was a weird thing to be excited about. I feel like his is just going too smoothly, okay? Like, it's all like, la 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 la. But, like, when he was taking her photos, they had that weird, creepy incident. And now, like, we're kind of combining the things happening. And her head isn't gone. It's just wonky. You've never seen The Ring, bro? Her head is gone. Blurred and distorted beyond recognition, rather. Thank you for correcting yourself. The area completely smudged over, leaving no trace of the same sweet smile the good woman carried in all the previous prints.
Damn, that was too careless.
A common mistake to make, of course. If one is negligent enough to pick a newly processed photo in the dark, like I apparently did. It has happened before, loads of times actually. But I still can't help but feel a small pang of frustration over one mistake a newbie would likely make. With a sigh, I reach up for the switch again, intending to develop a new one from scratch.
It could pass off for one of those supernatural pictures they show on TV, though.
Yeah, it could, because it is. A memory clicks, one cursory thought in the sea of many, in short yet distinct second from the day before. A glimpse is all I got, but it's enough to burn the image in my mind. There was a shadow. No. A woman. In her 20s, or early 30s maybe? But with how far gone her flesh alone has become, it's not possible to tell at first glance. The skin itself already taken sickly pale color, rotten in most parts, blood dripping from every open gash and lesion on her body. Bony hands grip Miss Wright's neck like a noose, staining the skin underneath with a vibrant shade of scarlet. Nothing but malice fills the gleam in her eyes.
Zachary?
Not for me, but for Miss Wright.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something, that's all. Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
Journal updated. October 27th. It looks goofier here. Some of Hannah's shots from the photo shoot the day before came out distorted after Zachary developed them. He'd have almost dismissed it as a human error if he hadn't remembered a chilling memory from yesterday's shoot. The memory alone is enough to make me retch. I brushed it off then. A trick of the eye, I told myself, or a product of the heat. The weather has been unexpectedly warm recently, so it shouldn't be too surprising for such things to happen. And, well, blaming this on the usual fatigue and overworked brain, the weather, or an amateur error on my part is far more convenient. It makes a whole lot of sense than what the small voice inside my head whispers. It's a ghost! The same tiny voice suddenly makes itself known when something's afoul. The same one that lent a curious ear to Isabella's worries about the mansion. And with each second I spend staring at this photograph, the murmurs in my head only grow louder against my ears. Someone has to know. Show the photo to Hannah. Show the photo to Ash. If we show it to Ash, he's just gonna be like, bro, so what? You messed up. If we show it to Hannah, I don't know what's going to happen. Let's show it to Hannah. Story update. I don't have an explanation for what I saw yesterday, yet. But when you've been there, seen something enough to raise the hairs on the back of your neck or leave you wanting to flee or hide, finding more solid proof than a person's smudged off face in a photo is the least of my concerns. Ashton will undoubtedly give me flack for saying that or even considering Isabella's words and those silly tales about the place. The guy is a skeptic through and through. It'll take more than my account for him to even give this a single thought. However, more than his opinion is Miss Wright I'm concerned about. Surely she must have felt something if those shows on TV are to be believed. A touch of coldness in her neck, or maybe the feeling of being watched. That's what they often say. That's what often happens, ain't it? Outside, the sun is yet to rise. I've still got a few hours before dawn, but enough time to mull over how I'll go about warning her. Plenty of space to check if I'll get the same result if I redo the process again. The film processor hums back to life at my touch. The light switch gives out a soft click, and the darkness embraces the small closet again.
Somehow those urban legends don't sound so silly now.
Yeah, you should listen to Isabella. October 27th, Thursday, Ermengarde Mansion. In hindsight, this is a dumb idea. That is to say, rushing to a client I barely know's home for the first thing in the morning with the news of a ghost lady potentially haunting their newly bought property. Oh, and there's a bunch of bizarre-looking pictures of Miss Hannah on I never brought as proofs, too. So, yeah, dumbest idea in the history of my dumb ideas, all things considered. Why didn't you bring the pictures? Traveling to the outskirts of Anselm village at the crack of dawn with only my bike as company equally so. Personally, I don't think any of them would take whatever I'm going to say, well, no matter how nice or accommodating they are. Ashton himself would tell me the same thing. Odds are, he'll laugh in my face, for a good measure, if he doesn't freak out at me first for not listening to his warnings. Still, that's a whole separate can of worms I'll open at a different time, seeing as I'm already sitting at the Wright's front porch, waiting for someone to answer the door. More than anything, Miss Wright needs to know there's possibly nothing safe in this place. Warnings from friends be damned.
If only someone would answer the door sooner. Come on.
I try to ignore the looming presence. Their large, ornate doors give off as I press the doorbell for the fourth time. Its shrill ringing merely echoes, carried off by another warm passing breeze. The first time I came to this place, I found myself basking in the silence it offers. Now the atmosphere is just heavy, packed with trepidation and tension. Isabel's right, it does radiate the creepy kind of vibe. And with the image from the day before constantly flashing in my mind, the unease becomes harder to ignore as each second drifts by. Not wanting to spend more time here than necessary, I ring the bell again. Another long second trips by without anyone answering the door. If this fails, I can always go to Ash. Not really the most sensible course of action either, but waiting here ain't doing me any good. For all I know, the Wrights could be out of town. As luck would have it, just as I'm about to turn my heel, a loud thump rises from the other side. It followed by heavy footfalls and a string of very colorful expletives about one's parentage.
Didn't we have that bloody annoying doorbell replaced yesterday? That Irish charge has cost me a fortune and she can't even fix this nuisance. And where the hell is... Your hands if another po-faced twat is pressing that blighted bell, I swear I'll cut that.
I don't know what that word means, but I feel like it's a slur of some sort. The door swings open, and the very irate Mr. Wright greets me. His partly rumpled appearance, a clear testament of how early the hour is.
And who might you be? I don't recall asking the movers to show up this early.
I was prepared to face Miss Wright, their butler, more so. But Mr. Wright, I don't quite know what to make of him yet. I only caught sight of him yesterday as he's directing the movers. Although from how exasperated he sounded then, it seemed like more yelling was done than actual giving of directions. Needless to say, I'd like to believe those instances ain't all there is to the guy. Miss Wright, at the end of the day, did marry him. Standing before him, like now, though, is a different story altogether. Despite the difference in our respective heights, he manages to make it appear like he is the one looking down at me, not the other way around. An apology instinctively forms in my mouth before anything else when I arches an eyebrow at my lack of response.
Well, that's not exactly why I'm here, Mr. Wright. Yeah?
Right, of course, the one and only. And what can I do for you this fine morning? Have I seen you somewhere before? Bloody you peasants all look the same to me.
Oh, why did I choose to stay with him again? Why? Oh, Hannah should have left him. I regret my decision now.
Yeah, I'm actually...
It doesn't matter, I don't care. I've got someplace important to be at today. Just spit out what you want or be gone. I haven't got all day.
His eyes are sharp and expecting in spite of his indifferent tone. The very impression of someone whose sharp wits has served him well throughout life. The kind you have to carefully choose your words around. Disconcerting how the simple conversation can easily seem like a ruthless form of social maneuvering. I can see why Miss Wright would want to steer clear of it, if only for a short while. And sometimes the only way out of the game is to be honest. I'm a friend of Hana. I'm a photographer for luxury living. Those are both true. He doesn't like Zach. And if I say I'm a photographer for luxury living, I don't know his response. We'll just see how it goes. We have to be honest. Right? Because it's a visual novel. I'm a friend of Hana.
Sorry, sir. I was just...
Hana likes me more. No effect on Luke.
You see, I'm a friend of Hana, and...
A friend of Hana!
Why is your reaction like that?
Yes, sir.
His eyebrows shoot into his hairline at my answer. Although, it swiftly disappears under his dismissive gesture and chuckle at his heels. A small frown spreads across my face before I can stop myself. What I said has nothing remotely funny in it, yet here he is, hugging an arm closer to himself in a weak attempt to keep his shoulders from shaking.
Did I mispronounce something wrong, or...?
No, not at all. You didn't... my wife, has never mentioned a friend like you. That's all.
I distinctly remember us having an argument about it, mister.
I suppose it's a good thing she's venturing out of the usual. Vultures and savages, all of them hiding under sheep's clothing.
Yeah, because But then again, he was drunk, so it's possible he doesn't remember that conversation.
I don't really get it, sir, but it's not really surprising she wouldn't talk about me. We just met yesterday during the shoot.
He's gonna be like, "Oh, that peasant." As soon as the statement is out, the amicable air melts away, almost palpably. His eyebrows crease into a frown, and his posture stiffens. With how fast the atmosphere around us changes in merely a span of a few spoken words, I'm not quite sure what I can and can't say anymore. Like handling a ticking time bomb. Is this why Ashton wants us to stay away from them? If so, a part of me regrets not listening to him now.
Shoot. Who are you again?
Zachary Steele, sir. I was here yesterday from the magazine feature about your home.
Ah, that Zachary, the photographer. I remember now.
Oh, he does remember.
Just when you
Fantastic.
think she'd be careful meddling around media types these days, she makes friends with one.
It was really just small chit-chat, sir. The usual. To keep things entertaining. The shoot did take the whole afternoon to finish.
Oh, I'm sure she was pleasantly entertained. She wouldn't be making friends with media types if she wasn't.
Are you saying it loud enough for her to hear, or what?
No matter. She's her own woman. She can do what she wants so long as she doesn't do anything to ruin herself.
I'm sure Miss Wright is aware of that, sir.
Yep, kind of regretting staying with him.
That she is. But we aren't here to talk about her, are we? What is this about today?
We are here to talk about her. We came to visit her. I said that when you opened the door.
The city's a long way from here. On push bike, no less.
Push bike? Is that what they call a bicycle? Push bike?
Yeah, I was actually hoping to talk to her.
Of course. Here for another headline, perhaps.
Not exactly, sir. I'm off work. This is for something else.
That's what they always say. The next thing you know, your face is in the front page of every conceivable scandal sheet going all the way to the ass end of Plymouth.
That's an interesting phrase.
You media types have such an insatiable taste for gossip. It's almost amazing.
There won't be any of that in an interior design magazine, sir. I can assure you that one.
Oh, you never know. Well-trained hounds have an uncanny way of sniffing out things no matter where you keep them. I do admire the passion, though. It takes a lot of energy for someone to leave bed this early, let alone knock at someone else's door at this hour. That aside, unfortunately, you're going to have to come back some other day.
Why?
You see, darling wife left not a moment ago. I have not an inkling where she went, or when she'll be back, so you're better off.
Love, is it the movers?
So she didn't leave. He stopped speaking altogether. And the complacent expression he has just collapsed onto itself. Slowly he turns just as his wife walks up to him with a step too lively for comfort, a smile too sweet, to be honest. She's very likely heard everything her husband and I have talked about.
Going off somewhere.
I've got the few things I want them to transfer already. Marianne made this splendid arrangement for the music room and... Love, are you listening?
I thought you already left, Buttercup.
She musters a frown, a pout more like. The mischievous gleam in her eyes when she glances at me says all there is I need to know. I would have laughed at her antics if it wouldn't have offended the other man. But, as it is, it's better to let his wife have her fun without any reaction from me. I'm treading on dangerous grounds with him already.
Well, I most certainly have not left yet. I wouldn't be standing here if I did, would I?
Of course you wouldn't be, darling. But don't you need to be somewhere else today? Something with Marianne? Shopping, girl, things?
That's not sexist at all.
Oh, I'll be leaving in a few. Unless you want to join us.
No thanks, darling. I'm afraid my liver. Oh, it's killing me today.
Then
Ooh.
stop drinking.
I thought as much. You needn't have to worry. I'll be gone in a few. It's just that I heard we have a visitor. What kind of person would I be if I didn't greet him before leaving?
A very gracious one, I'm sure.
Zachary, right? Zach? It's a pleasure to see you again.
Likewise, ma'am. I was actually looking for you.
Is that so? What for?
Oh, remember that photo shoot we did? Well, there's like this creepy ghost lady who was trying to strangle you that kind of saw through the lens, and I took a picture and it looks really weird. That's all.
A huge display of unprofessionalism is what it's for.
Shush, darling. Let the man speak. I'm sure it isn't anything like that if he has to come all the way here, yes?
It's about yesterday. The photos you asked, I mean. The copies are ready, but
My hand stills as I'm about to fish the prints out of my pocket. A short second passes, that which strikes me how I didn't think this through at all. How I'll go about telling her regarding the strange photos or revealing this to her in the presence of another person. Her husband gazing over us like a hawk doesn't provide any sort of comfort either. And just like that, all the words I have been practicing today on the way here inevitably fall stiffly off my mouth. Miss Wright must have noticed my hesitance because shortly she gives her husband's arm a gentle squeeze, a tender smile gracing her face. Unlike the first, this one's meant to appease.
Love, I think Hansi might need some of your input for the final guest list. Could you check on him, please?
Bollocks! Why in all Luxborn do I have to be there? Doing tedious jobs are what he's being paid for.
Because you're very picky and you're just going to complain about it anyways.
Because if we end up with people whose faces you do not want to show up in our housewarming party, we won't be hearing the end of it. Unless a heavy dose of liquor's involved. You know what the doctor said about that.
And he will ignore it anyways.
Please do poor Hansi and your liver a favor,
He can handle that on his own, Buttercup. And my liver is doing just fine.
Really, what happened to... Oh, my liver. I can't go out with you.
I'm sure it is. But I don't know, love. I think I caught a glimpse of the name Mitch Lakes, was it? I think it was Mitch Lakes on it when I checked with Hansi earlier. You should see for yourself. It was quite a list.
Who put that blighted twat in there?
And that's why I'm asking you to look over it before I do so tonight.
Very well.
But even with that promise, he doesn't appear ready to leave. Short of passing through their doors, he stops and glances back at me, all without bothering to hide the distrust in his eyes.
Luke, dear, I'll be fine. Go back to your butler. I'm not some pregnant wife you have to worry about.
Oh, that's funny, because she is.
Fine, fine. I have to go to that little ankle biter's career day later anyway.
Also, she has twins.
I don't see why I have to go there. Kylie's your goddaughter.
And yet, she has you around her little fingers, darling. That's basically the same thing.
If he ever has an answer to that, we don't get to hear it above the heavy thud of the door. The heavy thud the door makes, and Mrs. Wright's own weary exhale after she's sure her husband is out of earshot. She's nothing but apologetic when she fixes her gaze back to me, and I can't help but return the same to her.
I am so sorry you had to deal with that. My husband can be a bit trying when he really applied himself.
It's fine, Miss Wright. No harm done. It was my fault for showing up here unannounced. And this might be strange coming from me, but he does have the right to be wary. The press can be quite vicious when it wants to be.
It's just like all the time, really. Caught unexpectedly, they'll pick you apart. It's not surprising why he acted the way he did around me.
Sweetie, if Luke treats every journalist who shows up here like that, I'm afraid we'll end up with a harassment lawsuit hanging over our heads sometime in the future. Vicious or not, some sort of finesse has to be exercised when dealing with them. I'm sorry, I hope that wasn't too offensive.
Not at all, Miss Wright.
Okay. We will see how this conversation goes in the next episode. We'll see how she reacts to, "There's a ghost in your house." Next time. And Tater Cat. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon.